The Chinese and the Philippines economies have seen rapid growth and development in recent years. With bilateral trade rising every year, it is imperative that China has become a large part of the archipelago nation, from promising billions of US dollars in investments to helping cooperate with technical and knowledge of infrastructure, and even signing several trade agreements that would benefit the two nations. Data from the Philippine Statistics Authority shows that from 2018 to 2021, China has invested only over $3 billion US dollars, which ranks it among the largest investors in the nation during the time frame. Furthermore, bilateral trade with the two nations has grown exponentially. In the past 3 years, it hovered around $50 billion US dollars annually, with 2021 being an exception, as it was more than $66 billion in just the first 10 months alone. And at the same time, the two nations' political leaders seem to have grown closer to each other. So how did China surge to become a global partner of the Philippines? Before we move on, don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe for more. The two nations have a long modern history that dates way back to 1975, when they first signed their diplomatic treaty, and since then, China and the Philippines have shared a close and cooperative tie, one that slowly grew over the years. As the two nations' geographic locations are very close to each other, this is expected. Even way back in 1999, China was already a prominent source of aid and investments and helped the island nation through several agreements. But the largest increase was because of the so-called Bamboo Network, which was the network of overseas Chinese businesses operating within the nations of Southeast Asia, which are very much evident in the entire Southeast Asian region. For example, the Tsai family, who have Chinese roots, are owners of SM Corporation, which is among the largest corporations in the Philippines. And this is spread out across other Southeast Asian nations, from Indonesia to Malaysia to Singapore. These billionaires or Chinese entrepreneurs have been a source of growth in the private sector of the Philippines. And because of this, the Chinese influence has viewed the Philippines as a close ally due to its top businesses owned by people with roots in the mainland. But besides this, what really stood out to make the two nations grow closer is because of Rodrigo Duterte, the 16th president of the Philippines. His policies made the country closer to China and other Asian nations. As we assume, because of China's growing role as an economic superpower, it'll in the future become a larger economy than the US, and the Philippines, which is basically China's neighbor, will need to benefit from it. Unfortunately, however, this move to China has been seen as an awful move by the Philippine public. Well, after all, China's role in recent years in the Philippine water has been horrendous. With issues pertaining to the West Philippine Seas, this is because of the opportunity that these small islands, which are so-called Spratly Islands, show, which the entire bodies of water is estimated to have around 190 trillion cubic feet of natural gas and 11 million barrels worth of oil, according to the U.S. Energy Information Agency. Issues aside, President Duterte helped China's financial standpoint grow closer to the Philippines. Or, well, did it? When he was elected in 2016, China promised over $15 billion worth of the company-to-company deals and $9 billion worth of loans. This affected international contract projects with China to grow from its average of around $1.1 billion from 2010 to 2012 to over $4.3 billion from 2017 to 2019. Yet, however, this is a mixed reality. Although investments in trade, international cooperation, and technical have grown, it has actually been quite slow, especially compared to other nations like Malaysia and Indonesia, who have seen massive investments and cooperation from China in recent years. Regardless, however, with the growing role of China in the region, it is becoming crucial to align with them in the coming decades, especially with ASEAN's growing role as an important international organization and its connection with China as its largest bilateral trade partner, especially knowing that the recent Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership was signed, which established ASEAN and China to grow closer in terms of trade, which also became the world's largest trade bloc in history, and a treaty that did not include the United States. Going forward will be magical, but it is vital to stay cautious.